drafty attics to high energy bills, we're breaking down the insulation questions Connecticut homeowners ask every day. Welcome to the Nylon Insulation Podcast. Let's get started.
You know that exact moment, right? It's the middle of summer.
Oh yeah, everyone knows it.
Right. So you're downstairs, the thermostat is holding steady at a perfectly comfortable, 72 degrees, and you're grabbing a glass of water before bed.
Yep.
Then you start walking up the stairs, and right around the fifth or sixth step, you hit it.
The wall.
The wall. That invisible, suffocating wall of heat. The air density literally feels like it physically changes.
It really does.
Suddenly, the upstairs feels like you've crossed into a completely different climate zone. And you know for a fact you're paying a small fortune to air condition that exact space.
Well, it's one of the most common complaints in residential housing, honestly. People practically resign themselves to it.
They just accept it.
Yeah, they assume a roasting second floor is just, an unavoidable reality of living in a two-story home during the summer months.
Which brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We are answering one specific, highly frustrating question for you today. Why is my house so hot upstairs?
It's a great question.
We've got this massive stack of sources you all sent in. Building science white papers, HVAC contractor case studies, advanced insulation guides. And going through them, what really stands out is that we aren't just talking about a broken air compressor.
Far from it. I mean, treating a hot second floor simply as an AC failure is where most homeowners go completely off the rails.
Oh, absolutely.
It leads to incredibly expensive mistakes. What we're actually looking at in these sources is, well, it's a masterclass in physics and thermodynamics.
Okay, I love that.
And this concept known as treating the house as a system. The forces turning those upstairs bedrooms into saunas are largely invisible.
So before we dig into the actual building physics, we need to clear the slate a bit.
Definitely.
Reading these contractor case studies, it's wild how often our intuitive attempts to solve this problem end up making things so much worse.
It happens all the time.
I have to admit, my immediate instinct, and I'm sure a lot of people listening have tried this, would be to just walk around the first floor, shut all the downstairs supply registers, and just, force all that expensive cold air up the ductwork to the bedrooms.
I mean, it seems perfectly logical, right?
It totally does.
You block the airflow where it's already cool to push it where it's warm, but doing that actively damages your HVAC system.
Wait, it damages it?
Oh, yeah. Your ductwork and your blower motor are engineered around a very specific balance of airflow and static pressure.
Okay.
So when you start slamming registers shut, you drastically increase the static pressure inside that duct system.
So the blower motor has to, fight against that newly created bottleneck.
Right, exactly. Standard blower motors aren't designed to push through that level of resistance. They end up overheating and degrading over time.
Yikes.
But the more immediate crisis actually happens at the indoor evaporator coil.
What happens there?
Because you've choked off the total volume of warm return air flowing over that coil, there isn't enough heat being transferred to the refrigerant.
Oh, I see.
So the coil gets colder and colder until the condensation physically freezes.
Shut up. It literally freezes.
Yes. You can turn your evaporator coil into a solid block of ice, which shuts down the entire system right in the middle of a heat wave.
Okay, wow. Note to self, messing with the vents is definitely out.
Highly recommend against it.
So the other classic kind of heavy-handed fix I saw in these case studies is the brute force method.
Yes. The bigger AC.
Yeah. Just calling a contractor and demanding a significantly larger AC unit. I mean, if the current tonnage isn't keeping the bedrooms cool, throwing a massive, oversized unit on the side of the house feels like the ultimate solution.
I see this so often, and that might be the single most expensive mistake you can make.
Really?
Yeah, an oversized AC unit is the enemy of indoor comfort. It basically fundamentally misunderstands what air conditioning actually does.
How so?
Well, an AC has two jobs. Sensible cooling, which is dropping the actual air temperature, and latent cooling, which is wringing the humidity out of the air.
And humidity is what makes a summer day feel so oppressive anyway.
Exactly. To manage that latent cooling, the system requires a long, steady run cycle. The air needs time to constantly circulate over the cold coil.
So the moisture has a chance to, condense and drain away outside.
You got it. If you install a massive, oversized unit, it dumps a huge volume of cold air into the house all at once.
Which sounds good at first.
Right, but the downstairs thermostat hits its set point in 10 or 15 minutes, and the system just shuts off.
Oh, so it's short cycles, it dropped the temperature, but it barely had time to pull any moisture out of the air.
Precisely. You're left with a downstairs environment that is freezing cold, but completely damp and clammy.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, feels like a wet cave. And because the run cycle was so incredibly short, that cold air never had the necessary time or static pressure to migrate up the ductwork to the second floor.
So the upstairs is still a sauna.
Exactly. You end up with a freezing damp downstairs, a roasting upstairs, and an AC unit that will burn out years ahead of schedule from turning on and off constantly.
I am so glad we got those myths out of the way.
Me too.
Because if the equipment itself isn't the root of the problem, that forces us to look at the actual building envelope.
Right, the house as a system.
But I am struggling to square some of this with basic physics, though. I mean, we all learned in grade school that hot air rises.
Sure.
So why isn't the cold air from the AC just naturally pushing the hot air upstairs straight into the attic and out of the roof?
That is the assumption almost everyone brings to this problem. And, to be fair, in the winter, that is how a house behaves.
Right.
Warm, less dense air rises, escapes out the leaky top of the house, and pulls cold winter air into the bottom. Building scientists actually refer to that as the stack effect.
Okay, the stack effect.
But in the summer, when you are air conditioning a home, we experience the summer reverse stack effect.
So the physics just completely flip.
They do, yeah, because the air inside your house is now significantly colder and denser than the hot summer air outside.
Oh, okay.
So that heavy, expensive air-conditioned air doesn't push upward. It sinks.
Like a rock.
Exactly. It pulls on your first floor and actively leaks out of the house through all those tiny imperfections in your foundation, your rim joists, and your basement windows.
So wait, we're basically dumping our air conditioning out the bottom of the house?
Pretty much.
Which means, and this goes back to basic physics, nature abhors a vacuum.
Yes.
If a massive volume of air is just falling out the basement, the house has to replace it, right?
And it pulls that replacement air from the highest point of the structure.
Okay.
When that cold air leaks out the bottom, it creates a powerful negative pressure zone at the top of the house. Basically a literal vacuum.
A vacuum at the top of the house.
Right. Now think about what is sitting directly above your second floor ceiling.
The attic, which the sources say can easily reach 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit on a sunny day.
Exactly. So that vacuum effect starts actively sucking that superheated, unconditioned attic air straight down into your bedrooms.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it gets pulled through the unsealed gaps around recessed lighting, electrical conduits, ceiling fans, even the top plates of your wall framing.
So the AC is trying to pump cold air up while the house itself is actively sucking oven hot air down.
You nailed it. No wonder the AC can't keep up.
That is wild.
It really comes down to a concept called the neutral pressure plane.
Neutral pressure plane.
Yeah. It's the horizontal axis in your house where the indoor pressure perfectly matches the outdoor pressure.
Okay, I follow.
Below this plane, air is leaking out. Above it, air is sucking in.
So it's basically the tipping point.
Exactly. And if you aggressively seal the leaks in your basement or seal the penetrations in your ceiling, you physically shift where that neutral pressure plane sits, which alters how the entire building breathes.
I want to take that a step further, actually, because the building envelope is only half the battle here. I was reading through one of the case studies, and a contractor brought up an incredible analogy about how our daily habits interact with these pressure dynamics.
Oh, the picnic basket analogy.
Yes. They compared cooling a typical two-story house to taking a woven picnic basket to the beach.
It's so good.
Someone dumps sand in it, so you stick a shop vac inside and turn it on. You suck up the sand inside the basket, but the suction is so strong it just pulls more sand from the beach outside right through the woven cracks.
It perfectly illustrates the flaw of the single central air return.
Yeah, explain that, because I think most houses are built this way now.
They are. To save on ductwork costs, builders often install just one massive return grill in the upstairs hallway rather than running dedicated return ducts into every individual bedroom.
So all the supply vents in the bedrooms are blowing cold air in, but that air has to navigate out the bedroom door, down the hall, and into that single return grill to cycle back to the AC.
Exactly. Which is fine, mostly.
Right, fine until we go to sleep and shut our bedroom doors.
Boom. The moment you close that door, you completely sever the airflow loop.
Because the AC is still running, right?
Right. It's pumping cold supply air into a sealed bedroom. You are basically inflating that room like a high-pressure balloon.
Oh, wow.
And because that air has no designated path back to the return, it takes the path of least resistance. The pressure forces that newly conditioned air out through the bedroom window frames, electrical outlets, and wall gaps directly outside.
So we are paying to air condition the front yard.
Pretty much.
But meanwhile, out in the hallway, that central return is still running.
Desperately running. The blower is starving for air, but you've locked the available air supply behind closed doors.
So that starved central return creates severe negative pressure in the hallway.
Going back to your picnic basket analogy, the hallway becomes the shop vac. It violently pulls makeup air from the easiest available sources.
Which means sucking hot, humid air from the attic and from outside right through the structure of the house.
You got it. If the doors are closed, we're creating a localized pressure nightmare.
Okay, so the sources did outline a few mechanical ways to fix this without, tearing out the drywall to install new ductwork.
Yeah, thankfully.
They mentioned jumper ducts and transfer grills. Help me visualize how those actually work to balance the system.
So a jumper duct is basically an air bridge. You cut a hole in the ceiling of the bedroom, cut another hole in the ceiling of the hallway, and connect them in the attic with a U-shaped piece of insulated, flexible ductwork.
Okay, so the air goes up and over.
Right. It allows the pressurized air in the bedroom to silently flow up over the bedroom wall and back down into the hallway to reach the return grill.
That's clever.
Yeah, it equalizes the pressure without compromising privacy or sound transmission like, say, a louvered door would.
And a transfer grill is a similar concept, just cut directly through the wall above the bedroom door. Really.
Exactly.
But if someone listening doesn't want to cut holes in their house today, the immediate fix is just leaving the bedroom doors cracked open at night.
Simply give the system the pathway it was designed to use.
So, assuming we balance the pressure, we still have that 150-degree attic baking the ceiling.
The giant radiator.
Right. The immediate thought for most people is, I just need to blow 2 feet of fluffy cellulose or fiberglass up there to block the heat.
Naturally.
But the building scientists in these papers keep emphasizing that insulation isn't enough. They insist on air sealing the attic floor first. Why does a massive pile of insulation fail to stop the heat if the air isn't sealed?
It comes down to the fundamental difference between conductive heat and convective heat.
Okay, break that down for us.
Standard insulation, like fiberglass batting or blown-in cellulose, is highly effective at slowing conductive heat transfer. That's heat moving through a solid object.
Got it.
But those materials are highly porous. They are completely permeable to air movement. Adding fiberglass without air sealing first is, well, it's like throwing on a thick, chunky knit sweater over a wet bathing suit and walking into a blizzard.
Oh, that's a great visual. So the sweater has plenty of loft and insulating value, but the wind just rips right through the knit.
Exactly. It has no stopping power against the wind. Air sealing is the windbreaker you put on over the sweater.
Ah.
Using expanding foam or specialized caulk to seal every wire hole, pipe penetration, and wall top plate on the attic floor stops the convective air movement.
So if you skip the air sealing...
The reverse stack effect we talked about earlier will just pull that hot attic air right through your fluffy new insulation, bypassing its thermal resistance entirely. You have to stop the air to let the insulation do its job.
Okay, so the air sealing stops the convective airflow and the insulation slows the conductive heat.
Correct.
But the sources also focus heavily on radiant heat, like the sun physically baking the roof deck, which then radiates infrared energy down onto the insulation.
Oh, radiant heat is a massive factor. The roof deck acts like a giant radiator.
So what's the fix for that?
Radiant barriers. They're usually highly reflective foil sheets stapled to the underside of the roof rafters. They can reflect up to 90% of that radiant heat back up toward the sky.
90%? That's huge.
It is, but they require very specific installation conditions.
Right. The papers mention they need a dedicated air gap.
Yes. They must have an open air space facing the reflective side to function. You can't sandwich a radiant barrier between two solid materials, or it just becomes a thermal conductor.
That makes sense.
Additionally, if that foil gets covered in a layer of attic dust over the years, it loses its reflectivity and becomes practically useless.
So maintenance is key there. Now, even if you perfectly zipper seal the center of your ceiling and pile on the insulation, you still have a massive vulnerability at the edges of your house where the roof slants down.
The pinch points.
Yeah, I was reading about thermal bypasses, specifically where the roof meets the exterior wall.
It's a major structural pinch point. In standard roof framing, the angle where the roof truss meets the top plate of the wall leaves very little vertical space.
Like how little?
Sometimes only a few inches.
So you physically cannot fit your 12 to 18 inches of fluffy insulation all the way out to the perimeter of the ceiling.
Exactly. The insulation gets compressed, which ruins its R value or it just thins out entirely. That perimeter becomes a thermal bypass.
So heat conducts right through the ceiling at the edges of your bedrooms.
Right. But modern building science addresses this with what are called energy heel trusses.
Energy heel trusses?
Yeah, these are engineered roof trusses with a raised heel that lifts the entire roof profile up at the exterior walls, providing a full foot or more of vertical clearance.
Oh, brilliant.
It allows the insulation to maintain its full depth all the way across the entire envelope.
That makes a ton of sense. But here's a thought. If we block the heat from coming down into the house, we're basically trapping it in the attic, right?
We are.
And if that 150-degree heat just sits up there, it bakes the roof shingles from the inside out, and it cooks the AC ductwork.
Oh, absolutely.
The sources point out that ductwork running through a hot attic can lose 14 to 30% of its cooling capacity before the air even reaches the vent.
It's a huge efficiency loss.
Right, so if I want to fix this aggressively, why wouldn't I just wire up a heavy-duty, powered exhaust fan in the gable to blow all that hot air outside?
I mean, it is very tempting, but relying on powered attic fans in anything other than a perfectly sealed home is incredibly dangerous for your energy bills.
Wait, dangerous because of depressurization?
Yes. A mechanized exhaust fan blows a massive volume of air out of the attic, and that air has to be replaced instantly.
Right, nature abhors a vacuum.
Exactly. So if your ceiling isn't perfectly air sealed, and honestly almost no older home is, that fan will depressurize the attic space so violently that it acts like a giant vacuum.
Oh.
It will literally suck your expensive conditioned air right through the ceiling from the bedrooms below.
So I'd be paying to cool the air in my bedroom, and then paying electricity to run a fan that throws my conditioned air out the roof.
You accelerate the exact problem you were trying to solve.
That is so counterintuitive, but it makes perfect sense. So what's the alternative?
What the house actually requires is passive balanced ventilation, letting the attic breathe naturally using thermal buoyancy. Building codes actually govern this using what's called the 1300 rule.
Okay, I saw that ratio in the building code sources. Help me visualize what that 1300 rule actually looks like in a typical attic.
It dictates that for every 300 square feet of attic floor space, you need 1 square foot of net-free area ventilation.
Net-free area.
That is the crucial distinction. Net-free area is the actual unobstructed open space of the vent, minus the surface area taken up by the louvers, the metal grills, or the insect screens.
Ah, so a vent might look big, but the actual airflow is smaller?
Right. A vent might look like it's a square foot, but its net-free area might only be half of that.
Got it.
But beyond the total area, that ventilation must be perfectly balanced. A 50-50 split between intake and exhaust.
So the intake is at the bottom, at the eaves, and the exhaust is at the peak of the roof.
Right. Cooler outside air is drawn in through the soffit vents under the eaves. As the air in the attic heats up, it naturally rises and exhausts through a continuous ridge vent at the top of the roof.
Okay, so it just flows naturally.
Yeah, this natural convection current washes the underside of the roof deck with fresh air, carrying the extreme heat and moisture out without needing any mechanical intervention.
But wait, if we pack the edges of the attic with deep insulation to stop those thermal bypasses we talked about, don't we risk suffocating the soffit vents at the eaves?
It's actually one of the most common installation failures.
I can imagine.
Contractors blow in the cellulose and completely bury the soffit vents. To prevent this, installers must use baffles.
Baffles.
Yeah, a baffle is a rigid chute, usually plastic or foam, that gets stapled to the underside of the roof deck right where the roof meets the wall.
Okay, so it blocks the insulation.
Exactly. It acts as a protective tunnel, holding back the insulation while guaranteeing a clear, unobstructed channel for the fresh air to enter the attic.
We have covered some serious ground today.
We really have.
To pull this all together, fixing a house that is too hot upstairs is not about throwing your hands up and buying a louder AC unit.
Definitely not.
It is about respecting the house as a system. You have to balance the airflow pressures, you have to prioritize air sealing before you insulate, and you have to ensure the attic breathes passively.
It requires a massive shift from treating a symptom to diagnosing the actual building physics.
And for you listening right now, we want to leave you with some actionable steps based on these sources that you can try tonight, completely for free.
Yes, easy things.
First, keep your bedroom doors open to stop the pressure balloon effect. Second, check your HVAC air filter. A restrictive, dirty filter absolutely cripples your blower motor's ability to push cold air up to the second floor.
Such an easy fix, too.
Third, go to your thermostat and switch the fan setting from auto to on. This keeps the blower running continuously, mixing the upstairs and downstairs air even when the AC compressor isn't actively cooling.
That makes a huge difference.
And finally, close your blinds during the peak afternoon sun to cut the radiant solar load.
Those are all excellent immediate adjustments. But I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder that pushes this concept of the building envelope even further.
Oh, lay it on us.
We've spent this entire discussion looking up at the ceiling in the attic. I challenge you to look at the exterior walls and windows surrounding you.
What should we be looking for there?
Two things.
Yeah.
First, consider the solar heat gain coefficient, or SHGC, of your windows.
SHGC.
This isn't just about sunlight making a room bright. SHGC measures the specific fraction of solar radiation that physically penetrates the glass and converts into trapped heat inside your room.
Oh, wow.
If you have an unshaded west-facing bedroom with high SHGC windows, you are functionally living inside a greenhouse, regardless of how well your attic is insulated.
Because the heat is just pouring right in through the glass.
Exactly.
Oh.
And second, think about thermal bridging in your walls.
Thermal bridging.
Yeah, we rely on fiberglass insulation inside the wall cavities, but every 16 inches there is a solid wood stud.
Right, the frame of the house.
Well, wood is a terrible insulator. It has an R value of roughly 1 per inch. Those wooden studs bypass your wall insulation entirely, acting as solid thermal bridges that conduct heat directly from the hot exterior siding straight through to the interior drywall.
Wait, really?
Yeah, up to 25% of your wall is just solid wood transferring heat.
So the very skeleton of the house is radiating heat into the room.
Exactly.
We've conquered the attic today, but those exterior walls and windows are definitely the next frontier in the battle for a comfortable house.
Without a doubt.
So the next time you walk up those stairs and hit that invisible wall of heat, remember, it's not a mystery, it's just the fascinating physics of the house you live in. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious.